Deadlines are more than just dates on a calendar. They are the framework that transforms your goals from vague ideas into clear, actionable plans. Without deadlines, intentions float aimlessly, and your efforts lack direction. Jim Rohn often said that clarity is the starting point for success, and deadlines provide exactly that. A definitive point in time that anchors your purpose and focuses your energy. When you set a deadline, you tell your mind, this is not optional. This must happen. This simple act changes everything. Imagine you have a goal, but no timeline attached. It's like trying to drive across the country without a destination or a schedule. You might get in the car, start the engine, but without a clear endpoint and timeline, you'll wander, stop for distractions, and perhaps never arrive. On the other hand, when you say, I will reach city X by Friday, every mile you travel is purposeful. Every decision, how fast to drive, which roads to take, serves that objective. Deadlines provide that roadmap for your actions. One of the reasons deadlines are so powerful is that they cut through indecision. Many people procrastinate because the task seems too big, too complicated, or too undefined. But once you set a deadline, the task shrinks from an overwhelming mountain into manageable steps with a fixed finish line. That deadline breaks the inertia, sparking momentum. Your mind no longer debates whether to start or delay. It knows when the clock is ticking, and that sense of urgency compels movement. Deadlines also prevent perfectionism from sabotaging progress. Without a timeline, people often fall into the trap of endlessly tweaking, polishing, and waiting for the right moment. But the right moment rarely arrives. A deadline forces you to complete, to deliver, to act despite imperfections. Jim Rohn taught that progress, not perfection, is what leads to success. Deadlines remind you that it's better to finish and learn than to stall in endless preparation. Beyond focus and momentum, deadlines give you a way to measure progress. When you have a set time frame, you can track how far you've come and how far you need to go. This feedback loop is vital for motivation and adjustment. Without it, you may lose sight of your goal or drift away from your plan. With deadlines, you gain clarity on your pace and performance, allowing you to celebrate small wins or recalibrate strategies if necessary. Another hidden benefit is that deadlines help you manage your time more effectively. When you know you have a limited window, you start prioritizing tasks, eliminating distractions, and making better choices about how to spend your hours. Time becomes valuable currency, and you guard it fiercely. Jim Rohn often emphasized that time is more valuable than money, because while you can always earn more money, you can never get back lost time. Deadlines help you treat your time with the respect it deserves. Setting deadlines also cultivates discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, and deadlines act as the signposts on that bridge. They provide external accountability when internal motivation wavers. When you set a deadline, you commit not only to yourself, but to the reality of that date. This commitment strengthens your resolve, making it less likely that you'll give in to distractions or excuses. In essence, deadlines transform abstract dreams into real objectives. They take your wandering thoughts and focus them like a laser beam on a specific target. Without deadlines, good intentions remain just that, intentions. With deadlines, they become actions, progress, and ultimately achievement. They are not a source of pressure to fear, but a tool to embrace. A secret weapon that channels your energy and turns your vision into reality. When you learn to set and honor deadlines, you step into the power of control over your life, your time, and your success. Procrastination is one of the greatest thieves of success, yet it often comes disguised as something harmless, even comforting. It whispers to you, take a break, or you have plenty of time. It appears as a friend, offering relief from the discomfort of starting or pushing forward. But make no mistake, procrastination is a subtle enemy that drains your time, energy, and potential without you even noticing until it's too late. Jim Rohn often reminded us that while procrastination may feel like a refuge in the moment, it is actually a costly delay that steals your momentum and leaves you farther from your goals. The danger of procrastination lies in its ability to create a false sense of security. When you put off important tasks, you tell yourself that there will be time later, more time, better circumstances, or the perfect moment. But life rarely waits. Time slips away quietly, day after day, until you wake up and realize that months or even years have passed without meaningful progress. This lost time is non-refundable. Unlike money, which can be earned back, once time is gone, it's gone forever. The cost of procrastination is measured not just in days, but in missed opportunities, diminished confidence, and potential unrealized. Procrastination also erodes your momentum. Jim Rohn said that motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. When you delay action, you break the chain of progress, making it harder to regain the energy and enthusiasm you once had. Starting is often the most difficult step, and procrastination makes that step feel even heavier. The longer you wait, the more resistance builds, until it feels almost impossible to move forward. The weight of accumulated tasks can overwhelm you, feeding a cycle of stress and avoidance that keeps you stuck. Moreover, procrastination damages your self-trust. Every time you delay what needs to be done, you send a message to yourself that your commitments don't matter, that you are willing to settle for less. This internal betrayal chips away at your confidence and weakens your ability to believe in your own discipline. When you repeatedly fail to follow through, it becomes easier to doubt your capabilities and harder to summon the willpower needed to change. You begin to live under the tyranny of excuses rather than the mastery of your own actions. The price of procrastination isn't just personal. It affects your relationships and reputation. When you delay, others notice. Deadlines are missed, promises go unkept, and trust is eroded. The people who rely on you start to question your reliability. Your opportunities shrink because people do business and build partnerships with those who deliver, not those who delay. In Jim Rohn's words, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If procrastination is your habit, it influences not only your life, but those around you. To break free from procrastination, you must recognize it for what it truly is, a decision to avoid temporary discomfort at the cost of long-term success. It's a habit that can be replaced with discipline and action. Set deadlines, break tasks into manageable steps, and create a sense of urgency around your goals. Replace excuses with accountability, either to yourself or others. The moment you decide that procrastination is no longer an option, you take control of your time and your destiny. Remember, procrastination may feel like a choice, but it's a costly one. The price you pay is far greater than the discomfort of starting. If you want to live a life of achievement, you must learn to face discomfort head on, harness your willpower, and move forward, one action at a time. When you do, you reclaim the time and potential that procrastination tried to steal, and you open the door to true progress and fulfillment. When you set a deadline, you are not just picking a date on the calendar. You are training your brain to focus like a laser on what truly matters. Jim Rohn often emphasized that success begins in the mind, and your mental focus determines the quality of your results. Without a deadline, your attention drifts, distractions multiply, and the important tasks get pushed aside for the urgent, but less significant. A deadline brings order to this chaos by creating a clear boundary that your mind can work within. It sharpens your priorities and directs your energy where it's needed most. The brain craves clarity and direction. When goals are vague or open-ended, the mind perceives no immediate threat or urgency, so it defaults to comfort, delay, and distraction. But once you impose a deadline, your brain recognizes a defined challenge and mobilizes resources to meet it. This is rooted in our natural survival instincts. Deadlines signal importance, creating a sense of urgency that pushes us to act. It's like a mental switch that turns off procrastination and switches on determination. Focus is the secret ingredient that separates those who dream from those who achieve. The quality of your focus directly impacts how efficiently you move toward your goal. Jim Rohn taught that we must work harder on ourselves than we do on our jobs. That means training your mind to stay centered on your priorities despite the noise of everyday life. When you set a deadline, you give yourself permission to say no to distractions and yes to disciplined action. You create a mental environment where your goals take precedence over temporary pleasures or diversions. Deadlines also help eliminate the paralysis of perfectionism. When you know you have a set time frame, your mind learns to work within constraints, making decisions and taking imperfect action rather than waiting endlessly for the perfect moment or perfect solution. This fosters momentum, which is crucial for progress. It is far better to take consistent steps forward than to be stuck in indecision. The deadline provides that push, an external force that overrides your inner critic and calls you to complete the task. Moreover, focus supported by deadlines creates a powerful feedback loop. As you work toward a deadline, your brain becomes more aware of your progress, adjusting your efforts and strategies along the way. This self-monitoring is key to sustained motivation and effective time management. Without deadlines, it's easy to lose track of how much work remains or to become complacent. But with a clear deadline, your focus intensifies, helping you track milestones, celebrate small wins, and course correct if necessary. Deadlines also serve as a filter for decision-making. When you have limited time, you learn to distinguish between what is essential and what is trivial. Jim Rohn believed that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Discipline requires focus, and focus requires clear priorities. Deadlines force you to prioritize tasks that move you closer to your goal and drop those that do not. This eliminates wasted energy and helps you maintain momentum toward meaningful progress. Finally, by training your brain to focus through deadlines, you cultivate a mindset of intentionality. You stop drifting aimlessly and start living with purpose. This shift in mindset is powerful because it changes your relationship with time and effort. Time becomes a valuable resource to be managed, not a burden to endure. Effort becomes deliberate, not scattered. Your brain, trained to focus by deadlines, becomes your greatest ally on the path to success. In essence, deadlines are more than just time constraints. They are mental tools that sharpen your focus, cut through distractions, and propel you toward your goals. They align your mind's natural tendencies with your ambitions, creating a powerful force for achievement. When you learn to set and respect deadlines, you teach your brain to concentrate on what matters most, and that focused attention becomes the foundation of all meaningful success. Deadlines don't just organize your time. They create urgency, and urgency is one of the most powerful motivators we have. Jim Rohn often emphasized that without urgency, goals remain distant dreams. With urgency, they transform into immediate priorities that demand your full attention. Urgency wakes you up. It pushes you beyond comfort zones and compels you to take action. When you set a deadline, you're not merely scheduling a task. You're igniting a fire within that fuels your momentum and keeps you moving forward with purpose. Urgency activates your brain's survival instincts. In the face of a looming deadline, your mind shifts into a heightened state of awareness, seeking solutions and eliminating distractions. This biological response is designed to help you meet challenges efficiently. Without urgency, it's easy to fall into procrastination or complacency because the threat of failure feels distant or abstract. But with urgency, the challenge becomes real and immediate, and your body and mind respond accordingly. Jim Rohn often said, "Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Desire alone, wanting something badly, is not enough to guarantee action. Urgency is the spark that converts desire into determination and effort. It creates pressure, but not in a negative way. Instead, it's a productive pressure that channels your energy toward the goal. This kind of pressure compels you to prioritize your tasks, manage your time wisely, and resist distractions that would otherwise dilute your focus. Urgency also helps you overcome the natural tendency toward delay. The longer you wait to act, the more your motivation wanes and obstacles seem to grow. But when a deadline approaches, the urgency it generates can cut through doubts, fears, and excuses. It forces you to move, even when you don't feel fully ready or confident. This is crucial because progress often requires imperfect action taken consistently over time. Waiting for the perfect conditions is a luxury few can afford, and urgency teaches you to make the most of the moment. Furthermore, urgency drives productivity by creating a clear framework for action. When you know there's a limited window of time to complete a task, you become more efficient. Your decisions are quicker, your efforts more concentrated, and your distractions fewer. You learn to focus on the most important tasks, the ones that will have the greatest impact, and eliminate busy work. This intentional use of time is a hallmark of successful people, and deadlines provide the structure that cultivates this habit. Another important aspect of urgency is how it builds momentum. When you act with urgency, each completed task fuels your confidence and energy to tackle the next one. Momentum is like a snowball rolling downhill. The more you push, the faster it grows. Deadlines create checkpoints along the way, reminding you that you are making progress and encouraging you to keep going. Jim Rohn understood that momentum is a powerful force and urgency is the engine that drives it. Urgency also cultivates discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results, and it is often forged in the heat of urgency. When you set deadlines, you create external accountability that supports your internal commitment. This dual accountability helps you resist distractions and maintain consistency. You become someone who acts promptly, delivers on promises, and respects your own commitments. In the grand scheme, urgency is not about rushing or reckless haste. It's about focused, intentional action that respects the value of time. It's a reminder that your goals deserve your immediate attention and effort. When you harness the power of urgency through deadlines, you unlock a wellspring of motivation and energy that transforms your dreams into realities. You become a person who gets things done, not someday, but now. And in that moment lies the true power of success. Consistent, small actions are the unsung heroes of meaningful progress. And when tied to a deadline, they become unstoppable forces that lead to success. Jim Rohn often taught that success is the result of daily disciplines, not occasional feats. The power of small, regular steps is that they build momentum, compound over time, and create habits that become the foundation for lasting achievement. Deadlines give these small actions a sense of urgency and importance, turning what might seem insignificant into critical pieces of a larger puzzle. One of the biggest misconceptions about progress is that it requires grand gestures or monumental efforts. But the truth is, most successes are built on steady, incremental work done consistently. When you set a deadline, you're not just setting a date to finish. You're creating a timeline within which daily actions must occur. These actions, though small, accumulate and push you steadily forward. It's like saving money a few dollars. Each day don't seem like much, but over time, they grow into a substantial sum. Similarly, small daily efforts build skills, knowledge, and progress that become impossible to ignore. Jim Rohn famously said, "Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better." This principle is closely tied to consistent action. Every small step you take is an opportunity to improve, to learn, and to grow stronger. When deadlines are in place, they prevent the trap of delay and complacency by requiring you to take action regularly. Instead of waiting for the perfect moment or feeling overwhelmed by the size of the goal, you break it down into manageable pieces and focus on what you can do today, tomorrow, and the next day. This approach keeps you moving and builds confidence through tangible progress. Moreover, consistent action tied to deadlines transforms your mindset. It shifts you from a reactive stance, waiting for inspiration or motivation, to a proactive mindset where you control your own success. This consistency trains your discipline muscle. Discipline is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. When you commit to doing something every day, no matter how small, you develop the habit of showing up for yourself and your goals. Deadlines reinforce this habit by marking clear points of accountability, helping you stay on track and avoid falling into procrastination or distraction. The compounding effect of small actions is another powerful reason to honor deadlines. Jim Rohn said that success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. When you take small, consistent steps toward a goal, those efforts multiply over time. Skills improve, relationships deepen, opportunities multiply, and your confidence grows. The deadline acts as a horizon, encouraging you to keep investing those small efforts until they accumulate into a breakthrough. Another important factor is that consistent action helps you avoid burnout. When you attempt massive efforts all at once, the risk of exhaustion and discouragement is high. But breaking your work into daily, manageable tasks ensures that you maintain steady progress without overwhelming yourself. Deadlines provide the structure that balances effort and rest. They remind you that progress is about pacing, not sprinting. This sustainable approach preserves your energy and enthusiasm, allowing you to persist over the long haul. Lastly, consistent action creates a feedback loop that sharpens your approach. Each day's effort offers data, what works, what doesn't, and what needs adjustment. When you combine this with the urgency of deadlines, you're motivated not only to act, but to learn and improve as you go. This cycle of action and reflection accelerates your growth and increases the likelihood of success. In sum, consistent, small actions aligned with deadlines are the building blocks of real progress. They create momentum, build discipline, harness the power of compounding, and sustain your energy. When you embrace this process, you become a person who doesn't wait for success to happen. You make it happen, step by step, day by day. Deadlines turn your small efforts into powerful engines, driving you toward your goals with confidence and clarity. Accountability is the secret ingredient that transforms good intentions into real results. Jim Rohn often pointed out that discipline and motivation alone are not enough. You need a system of accountability to ensure you follow through on your commitments. When you set deadlines, you create external markers that help hold you responsible. But true accountability goes beyond just dates on a calendar. It involves a commitment to yourself and others to act consistently and reliably, which in turn builds trust, momentum, and character. Without accountability, even the most carefully planned goals can slip away. It's easy to make promises to yourself and then let them slide, especially when no one else is watching. But when you make your deadlines known to others, whether it's a mentor, colleague, friend, or family member, you increase the pressure to deliver. This social accountability leverages the natural human desire to maintain reputation and avoid embarrassment. It's a powerful motivator because it taps into our need for connection and approval, helping us stick to our plans even when motivation wanes. Jim Rohn believed that accountability is closely linked to personal integrity. Integrity means doing what you say you will do, even when it's difficult or inconvenient. When you hold yourself accountable, you build integrity, which in turn strengthens your self-confidence and self-respect. This creates a positive cycle. The more accountable you are, the more reliable you become. The more reliable you become, the more others trust and support you. And the more support you have, the easier it is to keep moving forward. Accountability is not just about meeting deadlines. It's about becoming a person of your word. Another crucial aspect of accountability is that it provides clarity and feedback. When you are accountable, you regularly assess your progress and identify what's working and what's not. This honest evaluation is essential for growth because it allows you to adjust your strategies and improve continuously. Deadlines provide natural checkpoints for these assessments, but accountability ensures you don't ignore them. It forces you to face reality rather than hide behind excuses or denial. Accountability also combats procrastination by creating consequences. When you know that someone else is expecting results, or that you will have to report on your progress, it's much harder to justify putting things off. This external pressure complements your internal motivation and discipline, creating a robust system that supports action. Jim Rohn often said, "Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment." And accountability is what strengthens that bridge, making it less likely to collapse under the weight of temptation or distraction. Furthermore, accountability fosters a mindset of responsibility rather than victimhood. When you accept full responsibility for your actions and their outcomes, you reclaim your power. Instead of blaming circumstances, other people, or luck, you focus on what you can control: your decisions, your efforts, and your attitude. This shift in perspective is critical for success because it empowers you to take proactive steps, learn from mistakes, and keep going despite setbacks. In practical terms, accountability can take many forms: setting deadlines with a coach, joining a mastermind group, publicly sharing your goals, or simply checking in daily with a trusted friend. The key is to create a system that works for you and keeps you honest. Jim Rohn's teachings remind us that success is not a solo journey. It is supported by relationships, commitments, and accountability structures that hold us to our highest standards. Ultimately, accountability turns vague desires into concrete actions. It bridges the gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. It builds character and resilience, helping you become the person who finishes what they start. When you embrace accountability, you transform deadlines from mere dates into powerful tools that ensure consistent progress and lasting achievement. This is how ordinary goals become extraordinary results, and how you evolve from wishing for success to living it every day. When you embrace deadlines as your secret weapon, you don't just manage time. You harness focus, urgency, momentum, consistency, and accountability to create a powerful engine for success. Jim Rohn taught us that success is not a matter of chance, but of discipline and deliberate action. Deadlines transform your mindset and behaviors, turning vague intentions into clear priorities, and small steps into unstoppable progress. They sharpen your focus, ignite your urgency, build momentum, cultivate discipline, and hold you accountable. Not to anyone else, but to yourself. In mastering the art of deadlines, you master the art of personal responsibility. And that is where true success begins and thrives.